Good news, everyone. Boy, time sure flies, doesn't it? It seems like just yesterday we were down at the clinic getting our government mandated shots. Well, guess what? It's time again. Everybody pile into the minivan. We're going to head on down to the clinic and we are going to stand in line at... Oh, wait, you're not coming? You say you didn't get your shot? Well, it was mandated. You were supposed to go get your government mandated shot against the thing, remember? You didn't? Well, gosh, that seems like you're being a little bit uncooperative. You better get your mind right. You better get out there, young man, young lady. Get in that vehicle. We're going down to the clinic, and you are going to get your shot this time for sure. You're not? Now, I'm sure a lot of people 45 seconds in are like, what happened to the Florida Maquis, and what did I just click on? You see, an attitude like that would have been something as children, us Gen Xers, would have expected from our parents. If they said we had a doctor's appointment, guess what? We had a doctor's appointment. And we probably shouldn't make life too difficult, or it'll be a whole lot more difficult when we get back home. But as we become adults, of course, as we know, the government is not our parents. The government is not our parents yet. Back in 2020 and 2021, that was the tack they took. That was the level to which they decided that they were going to use psychological operations. That's convinced me for sure that the vast majority of people in government probably skipped psychology and sociology in college, even though they're graduation requirements. Because anybody with half a brain would know that that attitude, that tactic, that technique would never work for this particular issue, the COVID issue. Now, what if I told you somebody finally got a hold of those in charge and said, hey, you know what? There's a better way to get people to go and inject themselves. And on top of that, not only will they pay you exorbitant prices for the thing so that you don't have to spend a dime on it, they'll line up around the block and beg you for even more and more variants of it. I'm sure a lot of you are like, wait, no, I'm sorry. That just doesn't happen, Mucky. You better have some evidence. Well, guess what? We do. Prepare to have your mind blown. And guess what? The vast majority of the folks who are now lining up around the block to get their self-administered, ridiculously expensive injection, they're almost all Trump supporters. They're almost all 40, 50, 60 years old. Wait, what do you say? I can't believe that would never. You see, this is the idea. How many of you heard of a company called Novo Nordisk? Funny that their logo is a beast. Nah, couldn't be. Anyway, Battlefield of the Mind stuff. Just like we talk about over the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where it's $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable first 90 days, no questions asked, partnering with Vimeo and Patreon. We can create a couple of speed bumps there to get rid of the trolls, get rid of the censors, and talk about things like, well, we used to be able to talk about them, taking the gloves off like back in the 80s, but not going to waste any more of your time. How many of you have heard of this brand new class of drugs that it's out there? There's a Mounjaro and there's Wegovy, and of course the big one is Ozempic. Now, let me ask you the question. When this rolled out, where were all of your protester folks? Where were all of your anti-injection folks? All of a sudden, because the government wasn't directly involved in it, everybody was lining up around the block and is now still lining up around the block to go get this and pay exorbitant, for the right to pay exorbitant prices for it, so that they don't have to actually work out. I want you to think about that for 1 minute. The idea of getting up a little earlier, not eating fast food, getting rid of soda, maybe going to the gym on a regular basis, maybe being a little bit hungry during the day. See, all that is so antithetical to the capitalist me lifestyle of Americans, especially on the right, that they are willing to bow the knee, line up around the corner to the point where there are shortages of this drug. They would rather do that than actually just exercise and eat right. The number one product at Costco isn't hot dogs and soda anymore. It's Ozempic. It's the idea of you getting a little cartridge that you can stick into yourself, made by Novo Nordisk. And even though I'm sure a lot of people are like, Florida Maquis, wait a minute. The injection you were talking about, the government was putting out, the warp speed one that Trump created, that one had all sorts of side effects. Well, they even admit this one does eye problems, kidney problems, thyroid cancer, intestinal obstruction, vomiting, all this. Didn't matter. Didn't matter one bit to Americans. Not one bit. Paying $936 for the right to have major drug company, major pharmaceutical company ship them, and don't say it's the lefties in America, because the lefties aren't the obese ones. The lefties are not the obese people in America. Let's just tell the truth. We're going to tell the truth. Facts first. Facts first. You go to some place like Target or some place where Whole Foods or a vegan market, you're not going to find fat people. You won't. You won't find them. You want to go find fat people? Go to Sam's Club, go to Costco, go to BJ's Wholesale. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And they're the ones buying this drug. And the age group, 40, 50, 60, they're almost all over 40 in America. You're pretty much guaranteed to be a right-wing Trump supporter. Guaranteed. Oh, but there's more. There's more. In fact, it's so popular amongst women that it's so good at what it does, getting rid of the weight, that women's hormones balance back out and they get rid of all sorts of health problems. And even though a lot of women are taking birth control, their body overrides it. And they have what they call Ozempic babies now. All sorts of women saying, hey, I was on birth control and I was never able to have kids. And all of a sudden they have kids. Now, here's the psyop. If you don't think, I'm going to show this again. If you don't think there's a battlefield of the mind going on, watch this. I saw this and I absolutely could not do this video. Fox News is trying to tell you that the guy on the left, they're both the same guy, but the version of the guy on the left is more fit and more healthy than the guy on the right. A heavier, a little bit more rotund version of John Goodman. Yes, let me say this again. They are trying to tell you that this guy here on the left is a fit, more healthy version of himself than he is here on the right. Don't think so? Roseanne star John Goodman shows off fit physique in New York City after 200-pound weight loss. Look at this picture here. This guy on the left here looks like he's 1 foot in the grave. This guy on the right here looks like, oh, okay, yeah, he's probably not missed very many meals. But he doesn't look like this guy. But they are going to have you believe that this is the healthy guy and this is the unhealthy guy. If you don't believe in psyops, and by the way, you have to take Ozempic forever. Did they not mention that? Yeah, you see, all about the drug being used for weight loss. You will gain the weight all back if you ever in your lifetime ever stop taking it. What a deal. Gosh, I wonder if they were to sneak anything else in there and you would then have to just bite the bullet and say, well, I don't want to gain all that weight back, so... And I'll say it again. Costco, the number one product. The number one product Costco is selling right now isn't the big bulk bag of paper towels. You know, it isn't the 700-pound crate of dried beans. Nope. It's the little bitty, hyper expensive, teeny tiny You ready for this? Ready for this? You're going to love this. Once a week self-injection that you've got to do to lose weight. And people are just standing up and they are applauding and they just can't wait to get their hands on it. And it's so spectacular. And this is the logo of the company that created it, Novo Nordisk. It's literally a beast. It is literally the image of a beast. But you haven't heard a word. I guarantee, because I've checked. I've gone to BitChute. I've gone to Parler. I've gone to Truth Social. I've gone to all Rumble. I've gone to all these nonsense garbage webs. Not a word. Not one single word. Nobody stood up and said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we should take a breath on this. You know, we were all so fired up, worried about, that other shot. That other shot, you remember the one? And we did all of our deep dive research and we looked at, boy, and I tell you what, we did thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of research on that to warn the public, because that's our job. That's our job. We are the flag holders for truth and we want everybody to know what. Not a peep. Where are you at, Jimmy Dore? Where are you at, Joe Rogan? Where are you at, Kim Iverson? Where are you at? Oh, you see, this would be a little bit harder to do, wouldn't it? See, because the government's not involved. But you see, they figured out how to make you do it yourself and pay for it. They figured out how to make you do it yourself and pay for it and ignore the side effects. Ignore completely the side effects and the cost. Eye problems, nothing's perfect. Kidney problems, just got to take care of yourself, I guess, and kind of maybe take some vitamins. Thyroid cancer, intestinal obstructions, vomiting. No biggie. I'm skinny. No biggie. I'm skinny. And as we know, that's the goal. Always, isn't it? Because there's no happy medium. You see, it's either you are skinny, either you are completely bone, gaunt, skinny, pasty white skinny, or you are Jabba the Hutt. Those are the two choices you have. And if that isn't the classic American psyop, I don't know what is. That is basically every argument we're having right now in America is either you're here or you're way over there. There's no in the middle. But those of you who are still kind of, I don't know about injecting Maki, I just don't know. Ozempic's makers, new weight loss pill, beats Wegovy in early trial. What to know about Novo Nordisk's Amy Cretin. I'm not even going to try to say it how they probably want it said. Amy Cretin. That's what I'm reading. So, anyway, I will leave it there. Those of you out there, I know, and I have these people in my audience, who are boomers, our parents, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, with respect. Remember when we were kids? Remember when it's time to go to the doctor's office? Remember when we said, hey, maybe not? Maybe it's time to take a breath. Take a breath and think about, you know what? If the doctor says it's good, then it's good, and you're going to do it, and you're not going to waste any of my time. You're not going to waste any more of my time. I got to go there, and I got to write this check for this thing for you to go to school, and you give me any more grief about it, and I'll knock you into next week, and we'll go back to the doctor and get that fixed. Didn't work well, did it? How's that working now? Take a good look. Take a good look. I'll leave it there. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.